Right now your body is running a program it doesn't need anymore. A furnace clicks on before you even feel cold, and you go back to scrolling. For roughly 300,000 years, that same body faced a different rule. No walls, no gas line, no jacket built in a factory, just skin, fire, and whatever you could kill. This was not an emergency winter. This was every winter, for thousands of years straight. So how did a body this poorly equipped for cold survive it anyway? Start with the number that actually matters. Core body temperature sits at 37 degrees Celsius. Drop it 2 degrees and your hands stop working right. Drop it further and your thinking turns to fog. Drop it past 28 and the heart simply stops. That whole window, alive to dead, is smaller than 10 degrees. Humans are not built for this the way a wolf or a bear is built for it. No fur worth mentioning. No fat layer thick enough on its own. A tropical animal dropped into the Ice Age. And yet the body isn't defenseless. It has old tricks that switch on the moment cold hits. Blood vessels near the skin clamp shut first, pulling warmth back toward the organs that matter most. Fingers go numb on purpose. The body is choosing what to save. Then the shivering starts, muscles firing on their own just to burn fuel for heat. A shivering body burns through stored fat several times faster than a resting one. Run out of fuel, and the shivering stops. And when the shivering stops, that's worse, not better. There's a second trick, one nobody noticed until modern researchers went looking for it. Repeated cold exposure switches on a special kind of fat around the neck and shoulders. It burns energy purely to make heat. No shivering required, like a small furnace under the skin. Your ancestors were cold every single winter for decades. Their bodies stayed tuned to it. You haven't been properly cold in months. The same machinery is still inside you. It's just switched off. None of that solved the real problem, though. Adaptation narrows the gap. It never closes it. At -30, no amount of brown fat keeps a person alive without help. Help started with fire, and fire is older than our own species. Burned bone and ash inside a deep cave in South Africa point to controlled fire roughly 1,000,000 years back. That's not a campfire that got lucky. Wildfire doesn't reach that far into a cave on its own. Someone carried the flame in and kept it going, long before anyone alive today existed. But fire has one stubborn flaw. It only warms whatever side of you is facing it. Step away to hunt or gather wood, and the cold comes straight back. Fire alone was never going to be enough. What people needed was warmth that traveled with them. That need produced the real breakthrough of the entire Ice Age, and it wasn't fire. Draping a raw hide over your shoulders sounds obvious. It also leaves gaps everywhere. Wind slips in at the sides. Your arms stay bare. The whole thing slides off when you move. A draped skin beats nothing. In a real winter, beating nothing still isn't enough to survive it. The fix was cutting hide into shaped pieces and stitching them into something fitted to the body. Sleeves, closed seams, a garment that trapped warm air against skin instead of letting it leak out. That takes a needle, and the ordinary kind won't do. One with an eye small enough to carry thread. Bone needles with eyes barely a millimeter wide have turned up at sites older than 40,000 years. Grinding bone down that thin and drilling a hole that small, by hand, is genuinely difficult work. Thread came from the animal too. Sinew, the tough fiber linking muscle to bone, stripped and dried. There's a quieter clue about when this habit really began, and it has nothing to do with tools. Body lice only live in fabric, never bare skin. Genetically, they split off from head lice long ago. That split points to roughly 170,000 years of people regularly wearing something, long before the coldest winters hit. A fitted garment isn't decoration. It's the line between a tropical body and a European winter. Clothing and fire solve the cold while you're awake and moving. Sleep is a different problem entirely. 8 hours still, metabolism slowed, body heat production dropping, cold given a clear runway. Shelter solves that problem, and it's rarer than people assume. Caves helped when you could find one. Steady temperature, no wind, snow kept outside. A dry, defensible cave in the right spot, though, was rare, and other groups wanted it too. Most winters, if you needed shelter, you had to build it from whatever the land actually offered. On one open, treeless plain in what's now Ukraine, that meant one material: mammoth bone. Jawbones stacked in interlocking rows, long limb bones angled as roof supports, skulls anchoring the base. Some of these round dome huts used the remains of well over 100 individual mammoths. That's not improvisation. That's planning across seasons, maybe years, before a single wall went up. Hides stretched over the frame sealed the outside. Every remaining gap became a doorway for wind. So people packed sod against the walls, and in some cases, snow itself. Snow sounds like the enemy. Packed thick enough, it traps air, and trapped air holds heat. Layer by layer, the wind ran out of places to get in. Inside, a fire near the center could hold the air well above freezing, even at -20 outside. But a warm shelter creates its own new problem, and it's a big one. Keeping a fire going all winter needs fuel, which means someone keeps stepping back out into the cold. Which means you're tied to that shelter. You can't just wander after food whenever you feel like it. And that drags in the third real threat of winter. Not cold, hunger. In winter, the land itself stops producing. Plants die back, roots freeze into the ground. Most animals scatter, hide, or go lean and desperate right alongside you. So, surviving winter becomes math. Gather enough in the warm months to cover the months that give nothing back. Drying meat was the first answer. Thin slices, low smoke, moisture pulled out until rot has nothing to work with. Dried this way, meat could last for months instead of days. The second answer used winter's own weapon against it. Frozen ground makes a natural freezer. Dig a pit into that permanently frozen layer, pack it with meat, and the cold itself keeps it edible for months. The season trying to starve you became the thing preserving your food instead. But the single most valuable food of the whole season wasn't meat at all. It was fat. Burning that much energy just to stay warm, lean meat alone can't keep up with the demand. Fat delivers more than double the calories of the same weight in meat or plant food. Rendered down and stored, it became the difference between a group that saw spring and one that didn't. Warm, sheltered, fed. 3 of winter's threats handled. There's a fourth one people almost never mention. It doesn't attack the body at all. It attacks the mind. The darkness. The further north you go, winter days shrink to a handful of usable hours. Then, 14, 15 hours of cold darkness, night after night, with almost nothing you can safely do outside. That kind of confinement wears a person down in ways cold and hunger never quite manage alone. So people filled the hours instead of just enduring them. Repairing tools by firelight. Shaping new spear points. Mending torn seams before the next storm found them. And around that same fire, people talked. And the talking mattered more than it looks like it should. Older members passed down which valley still held game during the worst winter anyone could remember. Stories repeated the same way, year after year, until they stuck. That repetition was the whole point. A culture with no writing kept its knowledge alive by saying it out loud, by the same fire, every winter. If ancient winter survival is the kind of thing that keeps you watching this channel, the subscribe button is right there. Winter also forced something less obvious. A hard rule about sharing what you had stored. A buried cache of meat was worth defending. From wolves, from other groups, from a bad decision by one person. If one person controlled that cache alone, everyone else in the group eventually starved. So the cache got shared, and hoarding it became one of the worst things a person could do. That instinct is still sitting inside you. It didn't come from a philosophy class. It came from winters where keeping food to yourself meant killing your neighbor with cold instead of a weapon. Put fire, clothing, shelter, food, and darkness together, and a different picture of these people shows up. This wasn't a species barely scraping by, too busy surviving to do anything else. It was a species organized enough, fed enough, and warm enough that some nights were spent just talking. Every one of those systems, the needle, the bone hut, the buried cache, solved one exact problem: staying alive until spring. And solving it, winter after winter, for 300,000 years, left a mark that outlasted the Ice Age itself. The sharing instinct, the habit of gathering close when it's cold, the pull to tell a story by firelight. None of that is culture layered on top of biology. It is biology, tuned by a season that punished the alternative. So the next time a furnace clicks on and you don't even notice, that's not nothing. That's the payoff of every winter your ancestors clawed through so you'd never have to.